According to Martha Wagner in her book Apologies, whether you're requesting an apology or considering giving one, it is important to realize that a thoughtful apology can mend a relationship, while a thoughtless one may cause further conflict. Apologies, being able to apologize, it's so important for us for what we do with our patients. My name is Stefan Reinhardt, Director of Education for the C.L.E.A.R Institute, and this is what we talk about in this episode of The Odd Couple. Jerry, again, you're there. Again, you came back.
Stefan, I came back. No, I enjoy it. This is...
In fact, you never left. It's not that you're coming back. It's just you never left.
Yeah, that's how the some of the women I used to date felt like that. Like, isn't he ever going to leave? Get on the train.
No, the sentence I really like is the sentence that Betty says. You know, that she's as happy. No, you have to say it. This is one of my best, and I say it, a lot of times. I think she is as happy when she sees you arrive as when she sees you going. That's it? Something like that?
Well, the way she actually said it was a long time ago. She said, so for the people listening to this, I've only been married once. It's the same woman for 40 years.
Wow. Wait. Oh, really? Yeah. Deserves that.
Well, we're beating all the statistics, but yeah, we didn't get married young. I think I was 32. She was 34, something like that. She's 2 years older than me. And also for people listening, I don't know if it's interesting or not, but we have no children by choice. Mm-hmm. So she made a comment to a friend of hers one time at a social gathering, back when people used to actually socially gather together without masks, starting in the past. The past. She maybe the woman that she was talking to said something like, well, Jerry's it's a little bit out of the ordinary, a little bit wild. What's it like to live with him? And Betty said, well, I have two favorite times of the day: when he leaves and when he comes back, in that order.
That's it. It's in that order.
Oh, God. I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, and yeah.
I think that this woman was confused, or maybe her, that I would think it was that funny.
Yeah, I think she's probably still is confused.
Yeah.
Jerry, we this is the fourth episode of this podcast, and when we finished the last one, we said that today we would talk about
apologies. Apologizing. Yes. The need to apologize, and the concept of an apology. Let me ask you a question.
Well, let's go. Yeah. Start with asking me a question.
How do you feel about apologizing? Do you like to apologize to people?
I have no problem apologizing. I have really no problem with that. And I know it. I think it's rare. Some people might think it's BS. I have no problem apologizing. Really, it never was. And you know what? I think one of the reasons is that I've been around people who could not apologize. I was seeing that, and I would always tell myself, nah, I would not be like that. People who were stubborn, so stubborn that they would do anything to prove that they are right, whatever it took, just to make sure that they don't have to apologize. I have no problem with that.
And you think it's because you found it unattractive being with people who would not apologize or felt that they never had to?
Yeah, I hated it. This is a part of a personality that I really, when you evaluate people, we all have good and bad sides, but for me, this is a deal breaker, we could say.
Yeah, that's a good saying, a deal
Yeah.
breaker.
Hmm.
Yeah, why would you want to be why would you want to have any relationship with someone who felt that they did not need to apologize, because we all make mistakes, right? I mean, we all have regrets.
Yeah.
Um, and well, here's a funny one. This is do you have a dog, Stefan? No,
No, but I did.
but
I did a couple of times.
yeah, we have this dog.
Yeah.
We have our fifth Briard. So
Hmm.
for the people listening to it, a Briard is a French sheepdog, and it's like living with livestock. He's a very big animal.
Oh, yeah.
Matter of fact, Chewbacca the Wookiee is patterned directly after the Briard, and that
Yeah.
comes from someone who actually treated George Lucas's children and asked him if it was true, and he said it was.
Well, I'm not sure I agree with you because Star Wars is a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So it has to be the dog that was based on Chewbacca. This is where people are mistaken. They think that Star Wars is something from the future. No, it's in the past. It's a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But it's not an apology. So go ahead, Jerry.
Well,
Continue.
I've forgotten what I no.
It will come to you. It will come to you eventually.
I've got it. No, it didn't float that far out of my parietal lobe. All right, so here it is. If you're a dog lover, if you have a dog or a cat, doesn't matter, and you mistakenly step on the dog or the cat, you say, "Oh God, I'm so sorry. Oh, honey, I didn't know. Oh, come over here." Now, if you step on your husband, you say, "Yeah, I'm sorry, honey." Hey, you feel more regret for stepping on the dog or the cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I hate apologizing. I hate it because it means I did something I regret. And,
yeah, but it feels no. But for me, it in a certain way, it feels me good to be able to apologize. It would be much worse. I understand what you mean, but for me, it's much worse that if if you know you did something wrong, but you just can't apologize because of your personality. It's different. It's not liking to apologize. It's not that I like to apologize, but I have no problem doing it if I know I'm wrong.
yeah.
In fact, it's going to make me feel better to do it if I know I'm wrong.
Well, we would have that in common, but it took me a long time to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it. I think that my concept was that making an apology, offering an apology, a sincere apology, is a weakness. And one of the incredible disservices that was done back. Now hold on, I'm going to think about this. It's got to be 50 years ago. 50 years ago. So there was a movie called The Way We Were. Did you ever see that, Stefan?
I probably seen it, but I remember that there was a song that came with that.
Yeah, Barbara Streisand.
Barbara Streisand, yeah.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a very, you could.
I can sing it to you if you want.
Well, maybe another time. But the line in that movie, there was a famous line in that movie where the man who was there, what was his name? He's still very involved with the Sundance.
Robert Redford?
That guy, Robert Redford. And he's apologizing to the woman lead, whoever she was. And she says, "Love means never having to say you're sorry." That's ridiculous. I mean, I think it affected a lot of people. You should never have to apologize to someone you love. It's really quite the contrary, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's it. If you respect someone, if you want to have a good relation, if you are in good relation, you should be even, more inclined to be able to apologize. Like you said, when you apologize, it's because you you think you did something wrong. Maybe you didn't, but at least you feel like you did something wrong. And the other thing, I don't know if you make a distinction, but for me, because as dentist, take our situation as dentists with patients. I don't know about you, but sometimes I made some mistakes. Yeah, I know it may come as a shock to you. I know you thought I was perfect. And I'm talking to you, Jerry. Yeah.
Well,
But that's it. So how do you deal with that? What do you do with that? And another one there's one that I always think of. I was doing lectures last year, I think, when we could do it, going all around Canada. I think this was in Toronto or whatever. It's not important. But we had some dentists who were allergic, and so they had to, for the food and everything, because we with the food was included and everything, so we had to know about all the allergies and everything. And there was one who was allergic to kiwi, and really strong allergies to kiwi, and this is something you have to deal with.
yeah.
And so there was a buffet, there was everything, and there was some kiwi in one of the dessert. Now, that was not my mistake, because we know that we did, that was the hotel. That was their mistake. But I was the one organizing this thing. So I went to this dentist when I was informed of this, and I didn't say I'm sorry. I said I apologize. And for me, there's a distinction between the two things. Saying you're sorry for me is something easy. And it doesn't have the same meaning. Maybe I'm lost in translation. Maybe it's because of, but for me, if somebody says, I'm sorry, yeah, but it's there. Yeah, we did this, but I'm sorry, but it's like, I'm sorry, but it's like that. I apologize for me means something else.
You think saying you apologize is a more profound statement than I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry for me, it's just, yeah, well, I don't understand. I'm sorry, but that's it. It's like that.
So you bring up an interesting point as we divert between laughter, life, and dentistry.
Yeah.
Right. That's the podcast, or the
that's it.
Is laughter, life, and dentistry. All right. Well, let's talk about dentistry. So let's say a patient they're not satisfied, they're not happy with what was done. And it doesn't matter what the procedure is. Let's just say it's a generic question I'm asking you. The patient is not happy, and they say, Dr. Reinhardt, I'm not happy with this. What do you say?
Well, I'm sorry, but
get out.
No, but I mean, you have to know the situation. What I think the first thing is to try to understand what they're not satisfied with. What
exactly? That's exactly right. And I think that part of the skill set when it comes to the profession, and it doesn't matter if it's dentistry, it could be anything. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is all right. The first thing is, well, I'm here to help, or we can sort this out. What is it specifically that you'd like to see different?
Yeah.
Now,
if this happens again, what would you like us to do to prevent this situation?
Yeah, that's good. Or let's say it's the color of a tooth or alignment. Yeah. Now, I can tell you, having practiced orthodontics for 38 years, sometimes this would be a rare deal, but you'd have a patient or a parent of a patient say, well, but look right here. Look at this tooth right here. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at the tooth. I'm a dentist. I know what teeth look like, and I know what straight teeth look like. They're saying, well, don't you think that when I turn my head just and the moon is full and, like there's a meteor shower, but it over, don't you, the back of my tongue on the back of the teeth. Have you ever heard that one? My
Oh,
tongue on the back of the
of
teeth.
course. When
Oh,
I go, when my, wait, of course I hear, when I go with my tongue, I hear, say, wait a minute. Maybe I didn't understood you well, but I was aligning the front of your teeth, but I can align the back.
have you actually said that to somebody?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
This comes from Frédéric Poirier.
that's
That was really good.
Yeah.
No, wait. I want to make sure I understood. I aligned the front of your teeth, but I can align the back if you want. No. Wait, because if we align the back, then you're gonna feel that bump on the front because it's because of the shape of your teeth, or but this one is worn, whatever. But
yeah, it might be. Yeah, I've said some pretty edgy things.
oh, I'm surprised.
Yeah, but I have a lot more governance on. I actually can engage. I do a lot more hesitating, and because I'm thinking about what I'm about to say, because I don't want to have to apologize,
Mm-hmm.
or I didn't mean it that way. It doesn't matter how I meant it; it's how they took it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I like saying to someone, "Well, tell me what you'd like to see different than the way it is,"
Yeah.
and then I just let them talk. Now, I think that in dentistry specifically, that that's one of the things that I think people could find very useful is to say to someone, let's say it's anything in dentistry, what's your understanding of what your dental situation is?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
even on a recall, but for sure a new patient, but any patient, what is your understanding? What would you like to see different than the way it is?
Mm-hmm.
And have to get good at trying to assess if they have realistic expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Because if their expectations are unrealistic, then what would you do, Stefan?
Well, I think that this is where you have to say, that sometimes it's a good idea to go get a second opinion.
It's exactly what I do. Please get some other opinion.
I'm afraid that I will not be able to, to give you what you expect or what you want, and I may not be the right professional for you. But there are others, and I can even refer you to some if you want. And sometimes it's a good idea to go get a second opinion.
Yeah, you would never here in the States. And again, I always like to be sure that I'm not guilty of some sort of cultural arrogance, acting like the way it is in the States is the way it is everywhere. But I think customer service is the same. The idea of being respectful and polite is part of customer service. And to say to someone, well, I'm concerned I won't meet your expectations.
Exactly.
Needs. So please get some other opinions. And then let me know if you'd like to talk with me again. That's a very, very minimal investment in time. And of course, you have to train a staff member to do this, a team member. It has to be the right person, doesn't it?
Yeah, because I think there are a lot of times, when you add some frustration in the equation, this is when things starts getting bad. And a lot of times some will take it personal. And you don't have to take it personal. If you take everything personal, then you know what? Going back to apologies, I'm just thinking that you were suggesting, I think it would be a good idea, even if we just talking about it, I would be really interested in knowing what Dr. Gerald would say about this. Larry Gerald?
Yeah.
He's an orthodontist and he's a lawyer, right?
And he has a degree he has a certificate or a degree in
ethics. Yeah, that's it. And he's the one who's writing in the AGODO on the what's the column? Litigation.
Yeah.
I would be curious to ask him, and you would be probably the right one to answer this. Maybe but how many of these litigation could be solved just by the dentist or the orthodontist apologizing?
Well, Larry likes to quote a research that also Malcolm Gladwell quotes in one of his books. I'm not sure if it's the tipping point. It may not be, but at any rate, it's quoted in a few different publications. There's a study of physicians that are sued 2 or more times versus physicians, not dentists, physicians who are sued 2 or more times versus those who are never sued, even when the patient knows the doctor made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Or the hospital made a mistake. But this was a study of physicians. Can you imagine that? And this is in the United States, where people, we wear the dead bird of being lawsuit happy in this country, versus other cultures where either lawsuits are not allowed or they just almost never happen. Here it's quite common. So physicians that are sued 2 or more times versus those that are never sued, even when the patient knows the doctor made a mistake. So what the study was, this could have been on stumbling on happiness that we talked about.
Yeah.
But the point
I
of
think,
the study,
yeah.
what did the physicians have in common that were not sued? So there's a few things to guess at that makes it more intriguing. Was it their actual years of experience? No, it was not. Was it based on previous mistakes they had made? So imagine you're an actuary for an insurance company. You're trying to predict who is going to get sued and who isn't. Now, so it's not based on previous experience. It's not based on where you graduated.
Mm-hmm.
It is not based on how many degrees you have. What it's actually based upon is what, Stefan? What do you think it's based upon?
Communication.
The doctor-patient relationship.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
There are bad people out there that are going to sue, thinking that they're going to get the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But by and large, that's not what happens.
Mm-hmm.
People bring a complaint, or they go, and of course, now we're not so worried about the lawsuits. That's not the most common thing. What's the most common thing for people to be concerned about?
Social media.
Social media can destroy you.
Of course.
Destroy you.
Much more than the lawsuits, yeah.
I mean, a friend of mine's daughter, a young woman in her early 20s, she was talking about, this is before COVID. I mean, it was actually in the same room with her. She was talking about somebody she had met, and when she checked about this other person on the social media, they said, stay away from that person. So that was it. She wanted nothing. I mean, can you imagine how powerful this is? So it's the doctor-patient relationship.
Yeah.
Now, in other words, there was good communication, which you just said. Now, what they actually got it down to in this remarkable study was, what was one of the first things that the physician did when a mistake was made relating to the patient? Stefan,
let me guess. They apologized.
Listen. If you're listen to him.
I'm an A+. I'm an A+ student, but that's the only place I'm an A+.
What other? They apologized. Now, is an apology an admission of wrongdoing? No, it is not. So just before we were talking about my dog. I'm so crazy with this dog. I love this dog.
Mm-hmm.
Stefan, if you heard the dog was dead, that the dog died, I know you would say, "Ooh, this is bad. I'm really sorry about the dog. I'm sorry." You didn't kill the dog.
No. Mm-hmm.
So an attorney like Larry Gerald, and also these, I met, I don't know if I ever told you about this, but I was at a few years ago, maybe 5 or longer years ago, I was at a family function, my immediate family, the Sampson family. And there was a lot of guests there. And my cousin, who was an attorney, he's tried a case before the United States Supreme Court. He was the head investigator into organized crime in the state of Wisconsin. He introduces me to it. He said, "Come on, I'm going to introduce you to someone."
Mm-hmm.
So he introduces me to a guy, and all he said was, "This is Babu, and this is my cousin Jerry, and you two have something to talk about." And he walked away.
Mm-hmm.
He walked away, and I looked at him and I said, "Well, let's see. I guess we have something to talk about. How do you spend your time?" He said, "I'm an attorney, like your cousin. I'm retired though."
Uh-huh.
He said, "How about you?" I said, "Well, I'm a pediatric dentist. I'm a dentist." He said, "Ah." And I said, "Where'd you practice law?" He said, "Well, I was actually the lead counsel for Northwestern University Hospital." And I said, "I did my orthodontic residency."
Ah.
And I said, "Let me ask you something. Do you know about a study of physicians that are sued to 2 or more times?" He looked at me and said, "Know about the study. I was part of this. I mean, I brought the study. I was one of the principal movers of the study."
Uh-huh.
I said, "Yeah, we have something to talk about."
Uh-huh.
And I said, "What about this apologizing?" He said, "It's not an admission of wrongdoing.
Mm.
It's a complete misconception in the medical and dental community that because you apologize or your team apologizes, that you're admitting you did something wrong."
That's that. No, it's just, for me, it's just understanding. It's just being empathic. Empathic, is it a word?
Empathetic.
Empathetic. You know,
How do you
I
say
know.
it? How do you say it?
Empathique. Empathique. It's almost the same. Empathetic. There's like too much H. Empathetic. You know what I mean.
So,
but
so he said we had to actually bring in psychologists to teach the physicians how to apologize.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's talk about that for a minute. I actually looked this up. Okay.
How to do it. Yeah.
So I did. I looked up how to apologize appropriately. I'm reading how to apologize appropriately. I looked it up on Google. Step 1, express remorse. Now that's a pretty deep cut term. What does that in French?
Remorse. Almost the same again. Uh-huh.
Remorse, I mean, that's big time regret. Every apology needs to start with the magic words, "I'm sorry," or "I apologize."
I apologize. Mm-hmm.
This is essential because I'm reading again. This is essential because
but let me get back to what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
When I told you, for me, there's a difference between "I'm sorry" and "I apologize." And do you know what? Why? Because a lot of time, "I'm sorry" is followed by "but."
Oh, terrible.
That's it. If you don't follow it by "but," then it's different. It's like you will never say, "I apologize, but." You don't hear that. But "I'm sorry, but." No, don't say you're sorry. If you're sorry, but you're not sorry.
Perfect. You're making it, it's an excuse.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I offended you.
Exactly.
Now it's no longer an apology. It's an excuse.
Okay, go ahead.
So it says, now that's step 1. Apologize for your actions. Step 2, admit responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
I did that.
Mm-hmm.
Step 3. Now I want everybody to think about because I just looked this up because I knew we were going to talk this over today.
Yeah.
But let's just see what I can Google out here. Step 3. This is good. Make amends. What can I do to make this right? Now I know you've heard me talk about this in Nathos, because in the classroom, that's something that I make it a point to cover with all the different groups. but you have to say it at the right time. I mean, in pediatric dentistry, one of the things that, I mean, I don't know what the training is like anymore because I finished my pediatric dental residency in 1977. So, but you're taught to deal with a child who is having a fearful temper tantrum. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. I don't want. It's going to hurt. They go nuts.
Yeah.
Somebody who is having that emotional reaction with those emotive noises, they can't hear you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about the last time you had an argument with someone from your past, Stefan, from your past. You had I don't know who that could be, but you're having an argument.
Mm-hmm.
And the other person, they're angry.
Yeah.
And or you are angry. You are not listening to them.
They don't listen anymore. That's it.
They're not listening to anything.
Mm-hmm.
So the time to step in is there's some key words. I read a book years ago called Getting Through to People.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the important things is to listen for the cues when someone is ready to listen to you.
Yeah.
They start calming down.
Okay.
So if someone's angry, the first thing you want to do, it says admit responsibility. All right. Here's admitting responsibility. Let's put it in a dental situation.
Yeah.
Well, I can assure you something like this has happened to me and I was not happy about it at all. Now tell me what else happened. And you let them run at it again. You let them go at it again. Did anything else happen? Now, I think it's important that when this scenario happens, and it's going to happen, well, I mean, I can tell you how to never have a problem with a dental patient. Right now, I can tell everybody how to guarantee you will never have a problem with a dental patient. It won't happen. How do I do that, Stefan?
I don't know, Jerry.
Yeah, you do. To stop being a dentist. Play the piano. Forget that. If you're going,
you may irritate other people if you play the piano, but that's something else.
Yeah, it's not a demo.
No, but that's it. I mean, things will happen.
Right. The first, if you never want to have a problem with an extraction, don't take out a tooth. I mean, these are things that, maybe dental schools improved. Maybe where I went to dental school, maybe they were falling short of this, but nobody even talked about this stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How important is that to face that and have so that you're not at a loss?
Yeah.
Because when adults are in a loss, it can come across as arrogance.
Yeah.
And if you read these studies that are quoted in Stumbling on Happiness, or the secrets to these physicians that are sued 2 or more times versus those who are not sued, number one is apologize and know how to apologize.
Mm-hmm. Know how to apologize. That's the thing. And I think that a reason not to apologize is if you're not sincere about it. I think if you cannot be sincere about your apology, it's going to sound fake.
Yeah, and you better do it quick before they get home.
Yeah, it's
slammed.
I mean, if you do an apology, it doesn't sound it's sincere. For me, it can even get worse in the relationship.
Right. Here's a sincere apology. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you took it the wrong way. I didn't do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, but I didn't.
I mean, it's laughable, but people, you have to think about that.
Say you're sorry. Say you're sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, right.
Are you happy now? I'm sorry.
Yeah. What do you want me to do about it? Ooh, that's a real good one.
But was it in the first or the second podcast that you talked about Walt Disney and the pillars?
Yeah.
They're pillars of success. Or, well, they also have this thing for apologies, and for that they, they say something like, we know we're not responsible inside, in their, we know we're not responsible, but it's our problem. We know we didn't cause the thing, but it's our responsibility. Something like that. Let me try to find it. I saw something like that, and I said that's it. That's exactly it. It's not about I did it or not. I have it here. Okay, they call it the herd technique from the Disney Institute. HEARD. I just say because of my pronunciation. So the herd technique. At Disney, we recognize that a service failure may not always be our fault, but it is our problem.
That's brilliant.
It is. So
Brilliant.
herd is for here. First, H, here. Let the customer tell their entire story without interruption. Sometimes we just want someone to listen. Second, the E, for empathize. Convey that you deeply understand how the customer feels. Use phrases like, I'd be frustrated too.
Yeah, perfect.
The A, for apologize. As long as it's sincere, you can't apologize enough. Even if you didn't do whatever made them upset, you can genuinely be apologetic for the way your customer feels. Like, I'm always sorry that a customer feels upset. The R is for resolve. Resolve the issue quickly, or make sure that your employees are empowered to do so. Don't be afraid to ask the customer, what can I do to make this right? And the D is for diagnose. Get to the bottom of why the issue occurred without blaming anyone. Focus on fixing the process so that it doesn't happen again.
Well, if you look at what I found on the internet,
yeah, that's it.
Quite interesting.
Or what you were saying before. That's exactly it.
Well, and the last one is step 4. So the first one is apologize. Step 1 is take responsibility. The third one is make amends. In other words, figure out what it's going to take to fix this. But the fourth one is just what you read from Disney. Promise that it won't happen again. Now, I think that I don't agree with. Promise, I can assure you this will never happen again. You can't do that.
No, but you can assure you will do everything.
Yeah.
That to try that it doesn't happen again. But I agree with you. I cannot assure it will never happen again, because some things you do not control.
There was Dolly Parton, a wonderful, wonderful country and Western singer. I mean, God, she has said some of the funniest things. She said, it costs a lot of money to look this cheap. Yeah, she said that. And then and another one was, I believe, and I may be off mark on this, and Dolly, if you ever hear this, God, I'd love to hear from you. But she said that I think when she turned 50, I think she lost a tremendous amount of weight. She had really gained a lot of weight. And she turned 50, she lost all the weight. And somebody was interviewing her, I don't know who it was. And they said to her, why did you decide to lose all this weight? And she said, well, I decided I wasn't going to turn 50 and be a lard ass. But then she said, stand by, because I'm going to mess up again. I mean, I thought, how perfect is that?
Yeah.
How perfect is that? Look, what is that saying in Christianity? They only made one perfect man. And we know what happened there. So,
yeah.
So the idea is, I'll do everything in my power. Like, here's one, as far as an apology and in context, there was a study that was done, I believe it was back in the 60s and 70s, called from a group called the Millennial Society, not Millennium. No, Millennium, not Millennial. Now I get yeah, the Millennium Society, not the Millennials. So scratch. It was a group of very, very the scorecard was how much money you were making. All right, so
Okay.
these orthodontists were making a lot of money for the time. By today's standards, maybe it's not so much, but by the standards of when this was done in the
Yeah.
60s and 70s, it was a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a selection bias in these highly successful by dollar figure practice. And they did a survey of patients out of braces. So the patients are finished. These are adult orthodontic patients, and it's a large number, hundreds of patients are surveyed. And they also surveyed parents of patients.
Mm-hmm.
They were bringing their children in. And what the purpose was to try to put some data on what people would pay, what was most valuable to people.
Okay.
What would they pay more to get? And in psychology, it's called the time value of money,
Mm-hmm.
or the money value of time.
Yeah. That's it.
What would people pay more to get? Well, would they pay more to get their braces off sooner? Now, it'd be interesting to do this with clear aligners, but this is heavy metal. This is, your teeth are in prison behind the bars. The bar door. So would people pay more to get their braces off sooner? Yes, but it was not number one. Would people pay more for office decor? For example, would people pay more money for video games, or now it would be iPads or movies in the office? No.
Goes down the list. Yeah.
Yeah, that was lower on the list.
Yeah.
On Wednesdays, the entire team dresses up for Halloween or something. No. People would pay more for that. Would people pay more for a more convenient office location? Yes, but it was not number one.
Mm-hmm.
Stefan, what do you think the number one thing was in this Millennium Society study?
I would go with being seen on time. All the time.
Perfect. People said that they would pay 15 to 20% more. Now think of that when you go to a restaurant and you have a nice experience,
mm-hmm.
the range is 15 to 20%. If it was really exceptional, maybe even go to 25 or 30%. If you've ever been a Waitron, you're probably going to hit 30%. All right.
Yeah.
The point is you're paying for the experience.
Yeah.
People said they would pay between 15 and 20% more. And think about the orthodontic fee of being $5,000 or $6,000 US, if they were assured of being seen in a timely fashion at every visit. That was more important than the time that people were in braces.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everybody listening to, do you want to be kept waiting? No. When's the last time you went to a physician's office for an appointment and no one even has the common courtesy to say to you, Dr. Reinhardt, I apologize.
That's it.
But Dr. Hoo-Ha, there was an emergency that he had to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be with you as soon as possible, no more than 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
More.
It has to be true.
It better be true. It better not be 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm. But no, they don't do that. You have no idea of somebody will come and get you. And it makes me, it brings me back to what we said earlier, that sometimes there are things you cannot control. And I remember this happened to me with a patient about 20 years ago. I had a patient, and I've been 28 years in practice. So 20 years ago, it was not a long time in practice, and it may be 25 years ago. I remember I was young, and I had this patient who was already not easy to deal with. You have some patients are really easy to, and this one was like close and more, hard to connect with. And we saw him late. We made him wait a couple of times in a row for appointments. And he was pissed. And the last one, he said, he complained and everything. And I was there at the front desk. And he said, I want you to I want you to promise me. I want you to promise me that this will never happen again. It would have been easy to say, I promise you it won't happen again. But my answer at the time, even being a young dentist, and I remember it, was, I'm sorry, I cannot promise you that. I can promise you I will do everything not to make sure it will not happen again, but I cannot promise you it won't happen again. Now, what we can do is, for example, we could give you an appointment at 6 p.m. because we know that we have our lunch from 5 to 6. We don't have any patient before you at 6. So there's a good chance that, we won't be late if you come at 6 or things like that. But I mean, it would have been wrong to make a fake promise. It would have been just for, well, this patient is still a patient at the clinic.
Yeah, I think it's this time value of money and knowing how to behave.
Yeah.
When the wheels are falling off the wagon. And like when that happened to me in private practice, when I was running late, which annoys everybody, is there was an apology, but there was also the front desk. And of course, we've talked about the fact that I had a boutique practice. So the woman at the front desk was quite gifted in her career as a receptionist, because what she was instructed to do and what she did was make sure it didn't happen again at the next visit.
Yeah.
I mean, and then if they were a freak about running on time, we did the same thing. She would say, not we, don't say we. She would say, Dr. Sampson sees his first patient at 8:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And if you'd like, I can schedule you as the first patient, because there's no way there'll be an emergency. Yeah. No way.
That's it.
You'll be in and out on time. Mm. Now, that's an interesting concept for people from a business standpoint, is expanded office hours. Because there are dentists that I know that'll see they're morning people. They're a morning person, which I am not particularly one. Mm-hmm. But my wife, she did practice general dentistry for, I don't know, 20 years or something. But she would see her first patient at 6 a.m. In the chair at 6 a.m. She was in the office at 5:30 or 5:45 in the morning. And she said, I'll tell you, those patients are never late, because they're going to get in and out before traffic.
That's true.
Out before work.
That's true. But a lot more chances of a patient missing their appointment, whatever, in the evening than you have at 6 or 7 a.m. That's for sure. Yeah, they also did something that didn't really work out. Now, this is a long time ago. You wouldn't do something like this now, but for evening, they had evening hours too. They had a swing between early morning, which is good customer service. But for the evening hours, they'd offer an adult beverage. For real. Really? Oh yeah, a glass of wine, a beer, something like that. Okay. I think it's wine or beer. I don't think that they were making martinis for people. But no. But beer or a glass of wine. Yeah. Well, that didn't work out, and it didn't work out not because somebody, people in the waiting room were getting lit up, and No, it's because the dentist was taking more. The reason it didn't work out is the patient would get called back for their appointment. They'd say, "Hold on, let me finish my beverage." Yeah. These days, that would be incredibly stupid to do, because there's a direct causal chain of liability. That patient gets shined up and drunk in your office and goes out and has a problem. You caused the problem. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Mm-hmm. But nobody would do that now. But at the time, I thought it was quite instructional. Yeah, it is. It's good. That's good. Apologies. Yeah. Here's one I found also on the internet. You can apologize again and again, but if your actions do not change, the words are meaningless. Yeah. That's what we just talked about. Exactly. The next time that person comes in, you want to get them back there on time. And if they show up late, don't ever say to somebody, well, you're not always on time yourself. Yeah, that's. Oh, no,
Oh,
no,
no.
no. That has nothing to do with it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean, they are they are. You are who you are, and I have the one. I don't know if it's the same that you have. The power of apologies. Is this the thing you have?
yeah.
All I want is an apology. This is what you have.
No.
Okay, so people who have been hurt or humiliated often hope for an apology. They may hope that an apology from the person who caused them harm will restore dignity, trust, and a sense of justice. Whether you are requesting an apology or considering giving one, it is important to realize that a thoughtful apology can mend a relationship, while a thoughtless one may cause further conflict.
Oh, I think that's perfect. I think that people should be hitting the rewind button on that one a few times.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, it says it all.
Yeah, my one of the notes I made when I was making the notes for today's discussion is apologize, don't manipulate. Because if you manipulate the truth, you're going to be found out.
Okay. I think you just found the subject for the next podcast.
What?
I would like to talk about the difference between manipulating and influencing.
Ooh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Manipulating and influencing.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good, Stefan. I like that. All right.
Okay, well, good. Hey, as always, let's say something, Jerry. I have to say something. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jerry, but I have to say something. I apologize to you all because this is everything we had for you today. But I'm happy to say that we will be back talking about the difference between manipulating and
influencing.
That's it.
All right. Well, Stefan, stay safe. And thanks for the discussion. It's always
Jerry. Always enlightening, always fun. Make sure that you are safe, healthy, and we'll see you very soon. Join us next time for another Odd Couple podcast where we will talk about the difference between manipulating and influencing. My name is Stefan Reinhardt, Director of Education for the C.L.E.A.R Institute. Always keep your center of rotation outside of the box and have fun making the move. If you like this podcast, there are other episodes and more to come. It's also available to listen to on all platforms. Google things that you might like this video, but I think that you might like this one also. And if you click on my friend CC here, you will subscribe to this channel.